Processing, sir.
Yes, Vitalji, go ahead.
Very good evening to all the attendees for the day. I, CA Peetam Goyal, Treasurer of NIRC of ICI, would like to welcome you all for the fourth series on with the foreign chapters of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, in the series which is named as Vasudev Kutumbakam. So, in today's series, we have with us the Luxembourg chapter chairman, Mr. CA Anjani ji, and we also would like to welcome Mr. Prashant Babuji, who is a guest speaker for the day. Mr. Anjani ji is also a guest speaker for the day. I would also like to welcome CA Gaurav Garg, Chairman NIRC, and along with that, I would also like to welcome CA Sangam Kumar Agarwal ji, past Secretary of NIRC, and also the current Regional Council member. Friends, so friends, today in this fourth chapter, the fourth series of this foreign chapter, we will be having a discussion on the tax and the regulatory framework, and also the opportunities for the Indian Chartered Accountants across in the Luxembourg, the European country. And also, the today's session is basically divided into three components. The first component is the regulatory compliances. What are regulatory compliances is there in the Luxembourg? The second thing is, as a chartered accountants, what significance we get out there in Luxembourg, how we can expand our foreign tax practitioners. And the third thing is the sessions with regard to the social, economic, and the expert lifestyles out there, which will be taken by Ms. Michelle. So this structure is something which we will be taking care today, friends. So to start with, I would like to call upon CA Gaurav Garg, Chairman NIRC, to give the opening remarks for the day.
Thank you, Peetam Goyal ji. Very warm welcome to all the participants, all the attendees, and especially to our very dear friend from Luxembourg, the chapter chairman of Luxembourg, CA Anjani Ladia ji. Very warm welcome, Anjani bhai, at the platform of Northern India Regional Council. It is good to have you with her on this platform and to listen from you about the Luxembourg. Very warm welcome to Prashant Babuji, who is our guest speaker, and also to my regional council colleague and a younger brother in the profession, C. Sangam Kumar Agarwal ji. So this is our fourth session in a series of Vasudev Kutumbakam, and we also have Michelle joining us. Michelle, very warm welcome to you at the platform of Northern India Regional Council of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. It is good to see all of you today. See, Luxembourg is slightly different. It's not only we need to understand the tax and law of Luxembourg. And if any chartered accountant wants to go to Luxembourg, then the qualification is as such not recognized, and there is some changes. So we will have Prashant to discuss about the education system of Luxembourg. I'm sure Europe holds a lot of opportunity when ODI is growing from India. Certainly, your clients, if they want to invest in Luxembourg, or if you want to settle, or your kids wants to go to Luxembourg, this session is going to provide a lot of helpful insight into the same. Now, without taking much of a time, once again, a warm welcome in this cold day in India, a cold day specifically in Northern India. Thanks. Peetam bhai, over to you.
Thank you. So it has been raining here in Delhi for sure, and very chilly atmosphere. So coming back from Europe, now for the first sessions, I would like to welcome CA Anjani ji. He is currently the chairman for Luxembourg chapter of ICI. And I think so, along with Anjani ji, you also have your partner.
Yes, I will have one of my expert partners who will be joining in a little bit later, and he will cover a section of my presentation as well.
Okay, so I would request Office to give a spotlight to, what's his name?
His name is Nishit Nirav. He is an expert in the capital markets of Luxembourg Stock Exchange.
Great one, sir. Great one. Okay, so coming to the first session for the day, the first session will be taken by CA Anjani ji, and it will be regarding regulatory compliance and business aspects, including the market in Luxembourg. So just to give a brief background about CA Anjani ji, he is currently the chairman for Luxembourg chapter of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. He is having more than 25 years of experience, mostly into investment banking and private equity retail, real estate industries. On a professional qualification perspective, he positions himself with a unique skills set, one only person of Indian origin, of having triple qualification of chartered accountants profession from Luxembourg, certified public accountant from USA, and a chartered accountant degree from India. Anjali ji helps and guides in business development activities by creating corridor between Luxembourg, India, that is inbound into Luxembourg and also outbound out of Luxembourg, business opportunity based out of Luxembourg. His key achievements includes as a lead coordinator for trade delegations to India, collaboration of bilateral matters with High Commission of India, local Luxembourg-based non-government agencies, Luxembourg-based Chamber of Commerce, and various other Luxembourg bodies such as Lux Innovation, LPA, etc. In his previous experience, he has in-depth exposure to onboarding and setting Indian businesses houses in Luxembourg. His professional journey includes working with Big Four accounting firms in various jurisdictions across the world, including London, New York, and India. And he is in Luxembourg since 2012. So, Mr. Anjali ji, the dice is all yours, floors is all yours, and we hope that in today's session, all the attendees get the gainful knowledge, and even if one attendee is able to make a business or help his client in the Luxembourg, we will treat that this session has been useful from the NIRC platform, sir. So over to you, sir.
Definitely. Thank you, Pritamji. Thank you. Am I audible to everyone properly?
Yes.
Great. Thank you once again for giving this opportunity to showcase Luxembourg to India. And I will share my screen and just let me 1 second. Can everybody see my screen? Yep. Luxembourg Connect. So, as said, once again, we wanted to thank this platform and Gaurav ji to giving an opportunity to bring Luxembourg close to India. And with that, let me ask you one question as such. Have you heard about Luxembourg before? If yes, then I would request you to please type LU in the chat box. I give 10 seconds to you all before I proceed. Okay, I see that people are typing on the chat box. Thank you. If anybody has not known Luxembourg before, so I would like them to witness Luxembourg through this video.
À vous.
Mais en même temps,
A lot of things were said to me.
Okay, so everything, each and every picture, each and every frame, what you had seen in the previous video is Luxembourg. Even, Luxembourg has a lot of contribution towards going into space. You had seen Cargo Lux, one of the, like the largest warehouse and the agency, for China is based in Luxembourg. But before we all go into detail, I just would like to give you a little bit of more glance about Luxembourg. It's the only Grand Duchy in the world. It's called as Grand Duchy of Luxembourg. It has a constitutional monarchy, and its capital is Luxembourg City. We are a very small country, you could see from our surface area, but we are bordered by three very big economies of Western Europe: France, Belgium, Luxembourg, and Germany. And uh, our official languages are French, German, Luxembourgish, with English is widely spoken. The administrative language is French and German, where all the businesses is being done by the government administration. Our total population is only 650,000, out of which 47% are foreigners. So small Luxembourg, but you could see that it has a lot of things to contribute in the wider economy. We'll cover up more going forward. Just to give you a wider scope as well about Luxembourg, we are around like 5 million inhabitants within 1 hour of a commute from Luxembourg. As you said, as I just said before, bordered by France, Belgium, Germany. More than 250,000 people come to Luxembourg every day as a cross-border commuters to work in Luxembourg from these border countries. It says 175,000. This is an older statistics, but now it is 250,000 that people come from a cross-border commute to Luxembourg. There are more than 135,000 students who are studying within the 6 universities in the radius of 100 kilometers from Luxembourg. It's, as I said, the multinational community, multilingual. One of the, as Luxembourg is the highest in the labor productivity in the world. It's one of the largest, or I would say the richest country in the per capita income. It's one of the largest talent pool that also it has it in Luxembourg. Let's do a microscopic view of Luxembourg now. Luxembourg serves more than 500 million customers. It is a place where we can have the free movement of goods, capital, services, and people, and serving as a single European market. Luxembourg allows, if you register yourself in Luxembourg, if you come to Luxembourg, you can do business in the whole EU from Luxembourg as well, with the whole passporting rights. It has a diversified and attractive economy in industry and automotive, ICT, media and commerce, logistics, finance and other services, European institutions. Luxembourg was the founding member of the EU, and that's why the European Court of Justice, what you saw, the European Investment Bank, the Eurostat, European Commission, all are based out in Luxembourg itself. So if it's an EU, you call it, Luxembourg cannot be missed from its mention at all. And some big companies which are present in Luxembourg are in this slide, including ArcelorMittal. Who does not know ArcelorMittal, one of the largest steel manufacturing company owned by an Indian, Mr. Mittal, is headquartered in Luxembourg. Luxembourg is known for its financial center ecosystem. Its financial services is one of its core income generation, and that's what it is all about. Luxembourg is called as in its financial services center. It has insurance, reinsurance companies. It has stock exchanges, financial professional service providers, financial institutions, asset management industry, lawyers, accountants, consultants, who are all servicing in the financial services center in here. Before we go ahead, I would like to also show you a little bit of video about finance and its financial services in Luxembourg's trade. So please see this video, which talks about the Financial Services Center of Luxembourg.
Ever wondered why Luxembourg ranks as one of Europe's leading financial centres? It's our international expertise. Selling funds, managing investments, businesses and family wealth across many countries and continents can be complex. It takes a particular skill to understand the different legal, fiscal and financial implications, and requires professionals that can think and act beyond their national borders. This is precisely the skill Luxembourg has to offer. Banks, asset managers, insurance companies and fintechs can benefit from an extensive ecosystem of service providers to support their international business development. The Financial Centre provides a complete range of services and solutions, whether for startups or the world's largest companies. Thanks to a stable and well-regulated environment, a unique toolbox of investment vehicles and the right expertise, Luxembourg helps demanding investors achieve their international ambitions. We are perfectly multilingual, and English is the main business language in financial services. People and companies from all over the world feel at home here. As a recognized EU hub and home of the global fund industry, Luxembourg connects markets in Europe and the world. It gives investors access to global and European equity, as well as sovereign and corporate bonds via its funds, supporting growth in Europe by channeling private equity capital, and helping governments and companies across the world raise finance by listing bonds on Luxembourg's stock exchange. That's why the majority of the world's top asset managers are based here. And it's why international banks, insurers, and even fintechs serve EU customers out of Luxembourg. So if you want to connect with investors in markets across Europe and beyond, why look anywhere else?
Right. So as mentioned in the video, Luxembourg is all about its financial services, asset management, investment funds, and raising capital from Luxembourg for the world. So let's go a little bit of more deeper on the India-Luxembourg relationship. Luxembourg ranks 16 in terms of foreign direct investments to India. You could see that Luxembourg, being a small country, still is the number 16 in the foreign direct investments, 4.14 billion. If you cover it over the wider Europe as a whole, EU, it is fifth largest foreign direct investment in India. Luxembourg has done an exchange of goods of 50.61 million euros. Not much in the exchange of goods because of its country is a small geographical location. And the services of 236 million euros. But if we cover up whole wider EU, these numbers go into multi-billion as a whole because of France, Germany, Belgium, Netherlands, and all other EU countries taken as a whole. But Luxembourg plays its own small role for its contribution towards bilateral relationship with India. These are some Luxembourg companies who are present in India. Did you know about that these companies are in India? If yes, I would request you to please type yes in a chat box. So, Sedatizid, a Luxembourg-based company, Holworth, Rotarex, SCS, the second largest satellite company of the world, is headquartered. It's a Luxembourg company, is now in India, partnered with Geo Finance, providing the satellite internet services in India. Boson Energy, B Medical Systems, Bernard Massard, the winery of Luxembourg. So these are just few to name, and I see like people are typing up on a chat box. If not, then these companies, Indian companies, are present in Luxembourg. TCS, Wipro, Infosys, Jindal Films, QBA, Syncordes. These are the few who are present in Luxembourg and are doing businesses from many, many years. So how can we tap opportunities in Luxembourg? So Luxembourg focus is on the following sectors: financial services, as I said, fintech and ICT, startup and entrepreneurship, and trade and investments. The main financial center activities are investment funds, banking, insurance, and capital market operations. Some snapshot about each one of them. In asset management, investment management, Luxembourg holds 62% of the global market. It's number 1 in Europe and number 2 in the world. And the Luxembourg funds are distributed in 70 countries. In the banking sector, we have 136 international banks from 29 countries. Again, if you see the geographical location of Luxembourg, 136 international banks present in this small country is phenomenal. Insurance companies, more than 42 non-life insurance companies and 46 life insurance companies are present in Luxembourg, providing services to the whole wider EU. And in the capital markets, there are 35,000 plus listed and tradable securities in the Luxembourg Stock Exchange. We will cover up more about the Luxembourg Stock Exchange in a few moments when I will have my colleague who will also come and give a more deep dive on the capital markets section. The other activities in the Luxembourg are the renminbi business, which is the Chinese banks who are present here. More than 40 Chinese banks are present in Luxembourg, and they operate from Luxembourg for across the whole wide EU. Sustainable finance is in there. The fintech, it's a hub of Europe. The fintech hub is in Luxembourg, and the Islamic finance. Another high-level snapshot about the various businesses: Islamic finance, renminbi, sustainable finance, and fintech. If you see the Luxembourg's fintech map, there are more than 200 fintech companies registered in Luxembourg across various activities in the payments, in the AI, big data, insurtech, cybersecurities, fund techs, cryptocurrencies, blockchain, lendings, and regtech. These are all based in Luxembourg. So with the wide spectrum of fintech activities, it comes with the compliance and risk management, blockchain and smart contracts, distributed applications, security authentications, automated investment services, big data analytics, and mobile e-payments. So Luxembourg offers the whole background, and then with the right regulatory environment and the compliance matters, it gives the fintech companies a good opportunity to set up their services here in Luxembourg. The research and development and innovation is also one of the key factors, which is also present in Luxembourg, which could offer to the clients to the service for the businesses. The startup ecosystem is very popular and also very accessible to the various players in the world. They can come, and if they want to register their company here, they get the private as well as the public funding through the Luxembourg Future Fund for their startups. So Luxembourg is accessible, small, but and available to various global players. Luxembourg has an investment toolbox uh, in the form of many type of companies or the funds that you could structure in the form of UCITS. UCITS is the undertaking of transferable securities. SIF is a specialized investment fund. CCAR is the specialized investment capital in risk products. RIFE is a reserved alternative investment fund, a type of a vehicle that is being created for investment funds here in Luxembourg. Limited partnerships, securitization vehicles, and family wealth management. Luxembourg has the full toolbox to offer. So to more deep dive on the Luxembourg capital markets and the Luxembourg Stock Exchange, I would like to give the floor to my colleague and friend, Nishit Nirav. But before we start on that one, I just want to show a small video about Luxembourg Stock Exchange.
What is Luxembourg's role within global capital markets? What is it about the country's financial services ecosystem that has global issuers and investors relying on it for their international capital markets activities? Luxembourg's legal framework is at the heart of this. It allows for a wide range of operations and transactions, taking into account local, European, and global market dynamics. This has led to the Grand Duchy emerging as a leading securitization hub, and Luxembourg law being increasingly used to govern international capital market financing. Home to Europe's leading stock exchange for international debt listings, as well as the world's first platform dedicated to sustainable securities, Luxembourg offers international firms, supranational organizations, and governments the ideal platform to finance their projects. Innovation is also at the core of our DNA, whether it be the issuance of DLT native securities all the way through to the tokenization of real-world assets. Luxembourg is embracing solutions that are shaping the capital markets of tomorrow. Our expertise has been built up over many decades, from setup to primary market activity all the way to post-trade. Luxembourg's capital markets ecosystem includes a broad choice of financing vehicles, as well as specialists to advise on the best structures and terms. This makes it the perfect springboard for global capital markets activities. Luxembourg, helping finance go global.
Great. Thank you for that. I give the floor to Nishit. Over to you.
Thanks, Anjani. Thanks a lot. Very nice video, to be honest. I have never seen it myself, but it was nice to see it. So thanks a lot for that. Just to introduce myself very quickly, I'm Nishit Nirav. I work at the Luxembourg Stock Exchange. Essentially, I look after our business development activities across India, South Korea, Japan, and Southeast Asia. Pleased to be here today. Thank you all for attending this conference. I would maybe shed some light on what this strange stock exchange does, Luxembourg Stock Exchange. If, for example, stock means equity for you, then Luxembourg Stock Exchange might not be a stock exchange. Why? Because Luxembourg, as you can see, is a very small country. And if you take equities in our country, then there might be 30, 40 companies who are listed on the stock exchange. So that's the equity side. We do have some global depository receipts listed on our stock exchange. So mainly from India, South Korea, Taiwan, where retrospectively we had foreign direct investment issues. Not the case for India anymore, hopefully. But we do have 200 GDRs on our stock exchange. But I would like to highlight that we have almost 42,000 securities listed on our stock exchange today. 90% of that is actually debt, so bonds mainly. Rest of that is structured investment products, investment funds, and a few equities, as I mentioned. Now you might think, how come so many bonds are listed on Luxembourg Stock Exchange? Actually, the story started a long time ago, 6 decades ago, in 1963, when the US government imposed taxes if you have to raise dollars inside of the US. So what happened, an Italian company called Autostrade, they issued a dollar bond, and that was raised outside of the US and listed on Luxembourg Stock Exchange. And this was the first Eurobond, and Eurobond market is the biggest bond market today across the globe. So that's where the bond listing story started at Luxembourg Stock Exchange. And over the years, then after that, sovereigns and supranational entities, they also needed dollars. And raising dollars in the US was quite an issue due to high tax rates. And they all started raising Eurobonds and started listing that on Luxembourg Stock Exchange. If you see today, we have more than 42,000 securities listed coming from 100 plus countries. If you see, there are 18 supranational entities across the globe, so multilateral development banks, and 17 of them list their bonds with us. So all their bonds are listed on Luxembourg Stock Exchange. If you go to the sovereign side, more than 100 sovereigns and quasi-sovereign entities, they have been listing their bonds with us for a very long time. We list bonds from more than 1,800 issuers coming from all across the globe. We have issuers from North America, Latin America, Asia, Oceania, Asia Pacific, Africa, of course, Europe, and so on. We do list bonds in number of currencies. So if you it's almost more than 70 currencies from where we list the bonds. If you take any other stock exchange, none of them have so many currencies listed on our exchange. The second one would be London, who have 30 odd currencies listed on their stock exchange. So that's an overview of what Luxembourg Stock Exchange is. If you take the international debt securities listing, so all the international bonds which are issued and listed, we have almost 33% market share across the globe. So every third dollar euro bond which is listed across the globe, and some being listed on Luxembourg Stock Exchange. If you see in the SSA space, so sovereign, supranational, and agencies, 45% of all those bonds are listed on Luxembourg Stock Exchange. What is something peculiar about Luxembourg Stock Exchange? We had all these bonds coming from supranational entities. And in 2007, I guess it was the World Bank and the European Investment Bank who issued the first, who were the inventors of green bonds. So they issued climate awareness bond back then, and it was listed on Luxembourg Stock Exchange. But that was kind of, let's say, a new instrument which was alien to everyone. And it remained alien for a very long time until the Paris Agreements happened in 2015. And on back of that, we started something called Luxembourg Green Exchange. So Luxembourg Stock Exchange is also majorly held by the government of Luxembourg. And we were asked by the government how you are mitigating the risk of greenwashing, because if there's green bond, there will be greenwashing, right? So what we did, we said the least that we can do, or the basic thing we can do, is create more and more transparency in the market. So what we did, we took the voluntary principles which were existing in the market and we imposed them on the issuers that these are mandatory rules that you have to fulfill to get your bond listed on Luxembourg Green Exchange. So for example, you have to mandatorily provide a framework for your green bond, or you have to commit to a post-issuance reporting. You have to provide that on a mandatory basis. So that's where we started in 2016, Luxembourg Green Exchange, where we had almost 150 bonds across the globe, so green bonds, and almost 120 of them were listed on Luxembourg Stock Exchange. So we had almost 75% market share at the time. And today, if you come to 2024, we have almost 2,000 green, social, sustainability, and sustainability linked bonds that are listed on Luxembourg Stock Exchange, displayed on Luxembourg Green Exchange. And on the same platform, we also have almost 1,500 to 2,000 investment funds. These are the funds which are predominantly or exclusively investing in green products. So Article 8, Article 9 funds under SFDR, Sustainable Finance Regulation in the EU. This is about Luxembourg Stock Exchange, Luxembourg Green Exchange. Now, what have we done with India? In India, we saw a few years ago that, of course, the amount of issuance on the international debt security side is quite less, but India has a huge funding need. If you see the commitments that we have done on the global level for reaching net zero is very ambitious, and we need a lot of funding for that. So we need on the infrastructure side, almost $800 billion investment. We need on the energy transition side, almost $200 billion investment. And on year-on-year basis, we have a funding gap of almost $30 to $40 billion in India. India today is a very domestic market, but all these funding needs cannot be fulfilled by the domestic investors. And therefore, the issuers, the corporates, the agencies, the state-owned entities, they need to tap into the international investor base. And that's where we saw that there is a huge potential on working with Indian issuers, with Indian infrastructure. So back in 2020, we signed a memorandum of understanding with India INX, which is the stock exchange based in Gift City, subsidiary of Bombay Stock Exchange. Just around that, also our regulator in Luxembourg, CSSF, they signed an MOU with SEBI, so the regulator of India, and also with IFSCA, which is the regulator in Gift City. So that's where we started building the partnership. In 2022, we signed a cooperation agreement with India INX for dual listing of securities, so basically bonds. Bonds could be traditional or green bonds or sustainable bonds, so that we can give visibility to these issuers on the international investor side. If you see today, on the sustainable finance side, 80% of the ESG investors are either sitting or are driven out of the EU. And in the EU, under MiFID II, you have certain restrictions on these investment funds when it comes to investments. So they have a bucket of 90% where they have to make investments in securities which are transferable liquid securities, and these are the securities which are listed on a stock exchange which is recognized by the regulation in the EU. And of course, Luxembourg Stock Exchange is one of those, and is one of the reference stock exchanges when it comes to bond market. And that's where we see that if the Indian issuers can go through this route to list at Luxembourg Stock Exchange, it can be beneficial for them to attract new investor base, reduce their funding cost, and therefore to have more reach on the investor side. So this is what we have done in India. We are extending our cooperation with Indian stock exchanges. We are in discussions with them to go further in our partnership. And yeah, this is essentially what we have done so far in India, and this is essentially what Luxembourg Stock Exchange does. Over to you, Anjani.
Nishit, thank you very much for your insights about the cooperation between India and Luxembourg that is happening. Thank you very much. In case if you would have any questions for Nishit, you can type it on the Q&A box, and then we will have him address it at later stage. Like we'll come back to you afterwards, because in case Nishit, you are more than welcome to stay back. I understand that you have some commitments, but if you can stay for the whole session, we can also ask the Q&A at the end. But I know that you did mention about your excuse. But thank you very much for joining.
Thanks to you, Anjani. Thanks for inviting. And yes, if anybody has any questions, I would be more than happy to take it up separately. And yeah, glad to be here. Thanks a lot.
Friends, in case any one of you have any of the questions, so it will be a pleasure to take it up.
Great. Thank you. So I continue on my presentation.
So,
and, sorry.
There is one question from Mr. Gaurang. The question is, can we generate carbon credits from India and offset or sell it in Luxembourg?
For now, not on a stock exchange, because in the EU we have different set of regulation for this, and we still lack clarity on that. We are working on it. You might have heard about voluntary carbon credit exchanges, but that's something which is done OTC, not ETD as of today. So not exchange, not traded on the exchange, but over the counter. So it can be done, but you have to do it outside of the stock exchange, because the regulatory framework is not at a matured level right now.
It's a private transaction. It's an individual transaction, bilateral transaction.
Yes, of course you can do it, but it has to be private, as you said. Indeed.
Okay. And the second question is from Krishan Goyal ji. It's regarding trading in GDR. GDRs listed in Luxembourg. How we trade in GDRs who are listed in Luxembourg?
Yeah, so we have almost, retrospectively, we had a number of GDRs from India. Today we have almost 35, 40. So Reliance Industries, Reliance Capital, Tatas, and all the conglomerates, big corporates from India. So in Luxembourg Stock Exchange, we have trading members. So the Luxembourgish banks who have become trading members at the Luxembourg Stock Exchange, you have to connect with them in order to execute trades at the Luxembourg Stock Exchange. Of course, an individual as such cannot directly come to the stock exchange to buy products, but there are different ways. We also have a partnership with Stuttgart Stock Exchange, very active stock exchange on the trading side, where we have market maker who provide liquidity. And if you want, you can trade through that route, or you can also, yeah, as I said, go to one of our trading members and connect through them to trade your trade any security on the stock exchange.
There are 3-4 more questions. One question is from Mr. Sunil Prasad ji. He said, how Indian CS can apply for a job in Luxembourg Stock Exchange? I know that this will also be taken up in the second session for the day by Mr. Prashant ji. But in case you can just throw a light over the same, how Indian chartered accountants can apply for a job in Luxembourg Stock Exchange.
The last question, you mean what is the scope for Indians doing online work for Luxembourgish companies? Is that the question?
Right. The question is how Indian chartered accountants
Yeah.
can be part of Luxembourg Stock Exchange. They can work in Luxembourg Stock Exchange.
Oh, well, as simple as that, I would say if there's a vacancy, you have to apply and see if you can. I mean, let's be honest. If you're looking for a highly specialized job, as you said, a chartered accountant job for me is a highly specialized job. If the company wants somebody to start ASAP, they will look for someone who has a work permit already. If the company has experience in the past to hire people from the outside, they do the paperwork for them, sponsor them, get the visa done, which is actually quite an easy process, I must say. Then yeah, that's it. It is up to the company. But the bigger is the company, the higher is the possibility that it will be easy for you to get the paperwork done rather easy. Bigger companies are more acquainted with that. In our stock exchange, we are. I'm going to tell you what's the size of the stock exchange. If you go to Bombay Stock Exchange, I think they have tens of thousands of people. But Luxembourg Stock Exchange, we are only 150 people. I think it's it's one of the smallest in the numbers, I would say. But yeah, we have a team of compliance team. If they are looking for someone in that role, then yeah, of course you can have a look at that.
Okay.
I don't know if that answers your question entirely, but that's my view on things.
So we will take up these questions in the second sessions with regard to the opportunities for chartered accountants in Luxembourg. So we will have the specific sections, the second session. So I will take 3 more questions. The first question is, what are the tax benefits for attracting FDIs in Luxembourg? Are there any tax benefits?
Tax benefits for the securities or
For investments in Luxembourg.
Okay, I think that would be more a question for Anjani.
Right. So yes, there are some tax benefits for investing from Luxembourg into India. But now, India does have a double taxation avoidance agreement, for between India and Luxembourg. But now with the gift city route, where the Luxembourg funds are now also exploring to, launch their entities in a gift city in Gujarat, so which has a separate tax benefit altogether as compared to the ones which is the part of the double DTAA. So like if we would want to know more about the FDI direct tax benefits, like I will be able to share up a write-up on this for our participants, along with my slides later on for reference.
Thank you, Anjani. That will definitely help all the attendees out here. And the last question, which we want to take it up, apart from the opportunities for chartered accountant, The last question is from Kamalji. What are the eligibility for any company to list any bond in Luxembourg Stock Exchange? And what are the benefits for any company to list on the stock exchange considering the Indian law or any other regulations elsewhere? I suppose this is with regard to any of the bonds or any other debt instruments which they want to take it up.
Yes, first, that's rather easy one. What are the advantages? If you take any bond issued out of India, international bond, let's say, it's normally listed on Singapore Stock Exchange, which is rightly so. They have been working with Indian companies for a very long time. They have been handholding the issuers for listing. And also in sustainable finance space, they have been very active in that region. So they are the reference stock exchange. But if we compare us to Singapore, one, cost. The cost of listing at Luxembourg Stock Exchange is half the price when you compare it to Singapore Stock Exchange. That's first. Second, the time to market. We listed 14,000 bonds last year, which was about $1.4 trillion. So that was in 2023. If we do the mathematics, we listed one bond every 7 to 8 minutes. So that you can see how dynamic the market is. So our teams are acquainted with processing files rather quickly. They're used to reading prospectuses and the documents rather quickly, I would say, better than any other stock exchange when it comes to at least bond market. So our turnaround time is the quickest in the market. So, when you're issuing the bond between the pricing date and the settlement date, everybody's panicking how quick we can list the bond. And we know that pain, and that's why we try to do things as fast as possible. If you are targeting European investor base, which is the richest investor base when it comes to sustainable finance, as I said previously, they have some compliance boxes to tick. And if you are listing your security on Luxembourg Stock Exchange, they can easily tick that box and invest in that security readily. So if you are targeting those investors, then it's essential that you choose a European stock exchange. I'm not saying necessarily you should come here. You can go to Dublin, for example. You can go to Paris, but I would not recommend you going to London because London is out of the EU, so the regulations are divergent now. So from my perspective, these are the three main points if you talk with an issuer when it comes to bond listing.
Thank you, Nishit ji, and thank you, Anjani ji. So what I will request is that you can just prepare a note for our delegates today for the chartered accountants in general for the northern region. So we would like to cover three major points in relation to the questions asked by the participants. The first question is with regard to the trading in the stock exchange in Luxembourg. How the Indian people can trade in Luxembourg Stock Exchange. Second thing is the regulations and how can we list our bonds in Luxembourg. And the third thing is your throw of light with regard to the tax benefits and the tax utilities for any of the investments or FDIs coming into Luxembourg from India or outside India. So addressing these three things and apart.
Yeah, I did miss one point. So
Citing the knowledge which is here today.
Yeah, you did mention about tax. So I think for an issuer, it's very interesting to have a perspective on withholding tax. So if your security is listed on Luxembourg Stock Exchange, there is a withholding tax exemption from the UK side. So in Her Majesty's Treasury list, Luxembourg Stock Exchange is one of those listing venues where they will have an exemption. And I'm not a tax expert, but I can certainly tell you that there are almost 30 such jurisdictions from where Luxembourg is exempt. If your security is listed in Luxembourg, then you will be exempted from withholding tax. These are some of the advantages. Of course, you said, how can you invest in a security? Well, if you're an individual, then it becomes tricky because you have to then connect with the trading member and then buy the security, which is something I mentioned previously. On setting up let's say a vehicle, I think that's more for Anthony how that's done. I have no knowledge on that. That we have an ecosystem which helps to set up everything rather quickly, because if I walk 1 kilometer east, I have the Ministry of Finance, 1 kilometer west, I have the European Investment Bank, the regulator is sitting 2 kilometers from here. So the ecosystem is very well connected, and that's what we have been developing over years in Luxembourg, how efficient you can make process to set up companies, to set up businesses, and to provide inflow, outflow of funds.
Okay. So, thanks a lot, Anjani ji, and thanks a lot, Nitish ji. So, we shall be waiting for the note which you told, and it is our pleasure to have you at NIRC in the 4th series of Vasudev Kutumbakam with the foreign chapter, sir. Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nishad, once again. So we continue our session on our journey for of Luxembourg. So during this Q&A, we did get a lot of questions on how can we work with Luxembourg, what is the opportunities in Luxembourg. So let's deep dive on tapping opportunities in Luxembourg of what. So there was question really related to outsourcing. So I could say is yes, there is an opportunity for international mobility and resource sharing, co-sourcing as well as outsourcing from Luxembourg to India. The core expertise of the service offering to the clients, we have our chartered accountants on this forum at the moment. So the expertise would be in advisory, tax, accounting, and audit. As we said that Luxembourg is more about fintech, financial services, digitech, IT side, like the services could be provided in the range of IT, blockchain, fintech, robotics, cybersecurities, which we are very good at, Indians are good at. And then also we can work on various tailor-made products and solutions for the clients who are in the financial services industry, in asset managers, insurance, banking industry, as such. The consulting, change management, international taxes, transfer pricing, and other financial reporting aspects for the funds and commercial companies under IFRS, US GAAP, Lux GAAP. IFRS is very similar to our in AS. So these are the services that we could provide to. There is, as I said, like EU, there are quite a few EU institutions here in Luxembourg, and they are always looking for talent in their IT and SaaS services, in audits and reviews, compliance, and other areas. The opportunities for EU institutions goes through tendering, and the tendering can be submitted by any company who is either based in Luxembourg or even in wider Europe as well. So if we would want to have anyone, our chartered accountant firms, to work for any EU institutions through the tendering process for any kind of services, they will have to be applying through their European counterpart who is present here in EU. Continuing on that, we have our chartered accountants on this call today. We, usually the French, the main chartered accountants or the service providers here can help in setting up the companies, helping in the back office services, in the taxation matters, in the audit and assurance matters, and all the other areas that is listed down on this slide related to the tax advice, human resource management, payroll, VAT, any regulatory compliance, AML compliance, fund administration, restructuring, reorganization, M&A stuff. All these are the opportunities that can be taken up by our fellow chartered accountants here in Luxembourg, either through having the direct partnership with their member firms here, or applying directly to the companies who would need these services. How do we want to tap these opportunities? To explore the possibilities of the EU-Luxembourg trade and in the services, we need to identify if they have any existing client presence in Luxembourg and or in India for harmonization between the two countries. Means if we have any European company or any Luxembourg company present in India, definitely we can, if you are providing any services to those companies in India, then you could also explore to provide those opportunities and then services to their companies in Luxembourg. Then you could also go to the market through the joint client target initiatives by offering new skill sets which they would be needed, and also by coordination with our CA global network, which is now present in more than 45 countries as a chapter and in 85 representative offices. So with the optimal utilization of the common interest of and then joining forces together, we can tap opportunities in Luxembourg as well. So again, a question for you guys: have you done any business with Luxembourg previously, or if yes, then please type Lux in the chat box. So then again, I have listed down some of the resources how we can explore about the opportunities. We can have the cross collaboration across the two countries with the help of Luxembourg government's official website. There's a lot of resources available there, and the opportunities that comes out from Luxembourg, what it could offer. The Indian High Commission, which is in Brussels, Luxembourg does not have its own High Commission here, but the Belgium High Commission, which is in Brussels, is the one which also supports Luxembourg and is part of EU. Luxembourg Embassy in India, through our Ministry in Economy, Trade and Ministry in Economy and Trade website, Trade and Invest, Luxembourg for Finance, Chamber of Commerce. We also have an Indian Business Chamber Luxembourg. If any of your companies or clients or anyone who would want to do business in Luxembourg can also explore through Indian Business Chamber, and they would be able to provide the full support for your clients or companies to set it up here. As I said, also, we have a House of Startups. It's a very vibrant startup community. Lux Innovation, University of Luxembourg. We will have one of our guest speakers, Prashant, who would cover up more about the students and the University of Luxembourg in a few minutes. But these are some resources which could help you guys to explore further out for the opportunities in Luxembourg. In India, we have our embassy in New Delhi. Our ambassador is Mrs. Peggy Franzen, and we have 4 consul generals in each locations of Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai, and Bangalore. So I would say is like, if you or any of your clients are very much interested to work in Luxembourg or have an opportunity to tap for Luxembourg, please reach out to these honorable consul generals or to our ambassador. They are very helpful, and then they will really be able to guide you further on your opportunities. Just wanted to also give you a perspective of why Luxembourg is for your business. Then I would ask you to listen from Mr. Lokdeep Singh, our fellow Indian, who is the CEO of Talkwalker, which is one of the only unicorns of Luxembourg, who is in a consumer intelligence acceleration platform business and employs 400 people and serves 250 brands across the world. Almost 100 people, Indians, are working in this company, Talkwalker. So listen from him.
Hi, my name is Lokdeep Singh. I am the CEO of a local, global, and very proudly Luxembourgish company called Talkwalker. Like many expats, I came here with my family, with 2 sons and a wife, 10 years ago, and decided to stay on. We are now the proud owners of the local Luxembourgish passport, and this is our home. So there are 2 aspects why I really love Luxembourg. At a personal level, I believe this is a place, the best place, in fact, to grow a young family. It's a place where kids can be kids. It offers a lot of safety. good infrastructure, high quality of life. Then on the professional side, it's a place that I believe offers a very competitive marketplace for businesses to grow in, access to single market, access to a diverse set of talents, and opportunity to do anything you want to do as an entrepreneur and as a businessman. Luxembourg is a place which for a business is, as a market, small enough that you can test ideas very, very quickly as a startup, for example. But then because of the access to the European market, the single market, you can also then scale it very, very quickly. And you have all the right infrastructure in place in terms of Lux Innovation and various other institutions to help you do exactly that. Luxembourg's charm, I think, is a combination of many, many things. In my opinion, it's a very unique and somewhat intoxicating mix of the old and the new, the modern and the traditional at the same time. And then to add to that is this beautiful, beautiful nature that we see around us, is the reason why and my family love living in Luxembourg. If I were to pick one thing, I would say it's the international aspect, the cosmopolitan aspect of Luxembourg that we really, really love.
Okay, so to wrap it up, a sixth reason to choose Luxembourg for business: political and social stability, quality of life, economic strength, international openness, multicultural workforce, and a very business-friendly administrative and tax framework. So while we have our fellow chartered accountants here on this call, I would like to also give a little bit of overview on the chartered accountancy profession in Luxembourg. So currently, the chartered accountancy profession is divided into, we have two regulators who are governing the profession: the Institute of Registered Auditors, IRE, and Authority of Chartered Accountants, OEC. And there, if you would, anybody would like to practice here in Luxembourg, they have to be a member of either of the two associations or the two member bodies. And currently, as you could see, that there are more than 500 auditors registered with IRE, Institute of Registered Auditors, and more than 1,200 in the OEC framework. The main difference between the two is like the OEC is are the ones who could do everything except the statutory audit of the publicly listed companies. IRE are the only ones who could be the statutory auditors for those giving the independent opinion on the public companies, and also by the companies who are classified as the large companies under the corporate law of Luxembourg. So, initial education needed for IRE, no. OEC, no. There is no examination, but you will have to be, doing the minimum academic degree, audit practice 3 years, and complementary education for IRE. And for OEC, you have to be in a professional practice under a OEC chartered accountant firm of Luxembourg to have getting the OEC license if you would want to practice in Luxembourg. If somebody would want to go into the full route of passing the exams, they can also do it through the University of Luxembourg as well, getting into it directly into the professions. As our CA degree is not recognized here in Luxembourg, that's why we will have to go through the examination route. What is recognized here is ACCA, or the European qualification of ICAW of the UK, or any other equivalent European qualification that is recognized by two of the bodies. That's why we say the examination is not required for them. But for the chartered accountant, we do have to do an exam. And then for that, I have also put up a link here, which is on the IRE's website. So the main difference, as I said, between the two OEC and IRE is like you could do everything: bookkeeping, preparation of annual accounts, financial analytics, everything what a normal chartered accountant can do, including the tax compliance and tax matters, but they cannot do the audit, statutory audit that is reserved for Revisier the Entrepreneur Gray, like which is the statutory auditor. So if you would want to know more about how to do a CA or how to practice as a CA in Luxembourg, please type CA in a chat box, and then we would be more than happy to give you more information about that as a follow-up of this session. Good. So
Thank you, Anjali ji.
continuing the journey of Luxembourg, I'm passing on back to you, to Preetham, and then take it forward onto our next session, which is by our president of Indian Students Association, Prashant Babu. So I'll give the floor back to you, Preetham. Thank you.
Thank you, Anjani ji, for taking. I think the presentation solves all the queries asked by the participants. I understand that there are few more queries, but in the capacity of the time and in the capacity of a moderator, I think let's move to the next session. And at the end, we will have a house open for the further Q&As. With regard to the second session today, we have with us Mr. Prashant Babuji, and he is basically from Luxembourg. He's from India, who's staying in Luxembourg, and he did his master's in wealth management program with University of Luxembourg. He's also the president of Indian Student Association of Luxembourg. So, without wasting any time, I would hand over the dice to Prashant ji for elaborating with regard to the opportunities for chartered accountants in Luxembourg and what is the role of the education system in Luxembourg. Over to you, Prashant ji.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Preetham. And first of all, I would like to just understand that can you hear my voice, because there is some renovation things going on backside. So I just want to understand from you guys. Okay, cool. So thanks a lot, Mr. Preetham. Thanks a lot, Mr. Anthony. Thanks a lot, Mr. Nishit, to give a hardcore understanding to people from India. So it's a big pleasure to actually interact with you guys over here. And yes, since the introduction was being given like Game of Thrones thing, so let me put it in this way. Since I usually like to have a lot of engagements with people when I talk. So first of all, I would like to introduce myself. So my name is Prashant Babu, and I study my master's in wealth management with University of Luxembourg, and also the current president of Indian Student Association Luxembourg, where you only don't have Indians, as well as you also have non-Indians who are part of the student association. So after taking the presidentship, so I have to unite it in a very global impactful manner, where all the students from the University of Luxembourg can benefit from different things, which I will be talking in future ways right now. And also, I'm a lead student delegate in the university. I also work on personal development and psychological counseling with my team for students. And today, I'm thrilled to talk about Luxembourg's education system and why it's a game changer for Indian chartered accountants and for new students who are prepared to come to Luxembourg. Thanks a lot. So I have divided this into 5 different sections, like a small sections. So if I would say, try to go with my words very precisely and carefully, because I have interacted with a lot of students from India where they ask me a lot of questions, and we have more insightful team where they can help you out in your questions in the future way, and I'll be giving you also our link where you can directly get in touch with our team, and they will be happy to help you in the future. So the first section is all about the Luxembourg education system. So Luxembourg has a comprehensive education system and encompassing primary, secondary, and higher education. So multilingual is a cornerstone. Like you have English, you have Luxembourg, you have French, and you have German, which is like I can understand that's like a bit of a lot of languages coming into a portfolio, and learning that is a bit critical. But in the safer side, you have English, and you have French as the major languages, which is spoken very much in Luxembourg. And the nation's commitment to quality education is evident, with degrees recognized at the European level. So whatever you study in Luxembourg University, it will be entitled to be recognized all over Europe as well as all over globe. When you go for Singapore, Dubai, US, or like Canada, anywhere, the recognition of degrees are much more higher. So this is section one, which I have covered. So any doubts you can ask me, or maybe I can lead you through the second section. So I hope I can proceed with section two. Section two is all about higher education Luxembourg. Zooming into higher education, institutions like the University of Luxembourg plays a pivotal role, actually. Notably, programs is, most of the programs are in English, and there are some programs which are also in French, but you don't need to be worried because you also have professors who can try to make you understand that in English too. So that's not a problem because that's what we as student education we have put it forward so that the students who are coming from the third country can understand the education because English is a primary language which is spoken all over the world, and that's the reason we have kept it forth. And we're also forecasting an inclusive academic environment. Luxembourg's dedication to research and innovation adds a unique dimension to the learning experience, which you can be very much profitable while you learn any kind of like a program, whether it can be finance and economics or like law, computer science, about like anything. So you'll be getting in a very precise, compactful, and much more in depth of knowledge where you can gain in more all about interacting with the not only with the professors, but also you can go and directly talk with your rectors. I mean, your faculty directors. You can also direct with the students who come from different countries, and that's the way you try to understand the whole concept of your concerned program, basically. So I'll move down to section 3, where I'll be concentrating more on chartered accountants. For Indian chartered accountants, Luxembourg serves as a strategic gateway. Its status as a global financial hub, coupled with a strong European presence, opens the door to an unparalleled opportunities, actually. The multicultural exposure gained in Luxembourg is an asset for navigating the complexities of global financial markets. So basically, Luxembourg is a financial hub where you can, I mean, like, you can get a lot of profitable uh, understanding as of like Mr. Anjani as well as a lot of our speakers were talking before. So that's a point I would keep it in a very concise. And for more questions on that, either you can get noted up with Mr. Anjani or maybe Mr. Nishit. So I'll leave that to them. And my personal experience over here is like, allow me to share a bit of my journey as a student in Luxembourg, basically. I encountered a lot of challenges that ultimately became stepping stones to personal and professional growth. The multicultural environment not only broadened my horizons, but also provided me with practical insights that I applied in my professional as well as the life today, which I'm living actually. It's not only me, but I would say like most of the students like me who come from different countries, they have the same problems. But as I always say to everyone, saying that everyone has problems and challenges, but everyone's problems and challenges are totally different. So you have to understand what exactly you need, and you have to understand what exactly your passion is all about. Because let's maybe there could be some audience asking me like, what exactly was my passion coming to Luxembourg was all about. Personally, when you ask me, I would say that I came at the time of I would say like I came into an era of COVID situation at mid 20s. So it's a long big story actually. So I came to Paris. I was taking care of my uncle at the time because he was affected by COVID, and I was applying for a lot of wealth management like programs all over Europe. But to be honest, like I'll be very honest. I wasn't knowing where Luxembourg was all about. I was staying in France. I was staying in Paris. I wasn't knowing about where is Luxembourg all about. But one of my friend, he recommended me saying that Luxembourg is in Europe, and even I was asking him, where is Luxembourg? But he told me like it's just near to France, and I had to take an opportunity that I had to actually first of all go to the university portal, try to understand what kind of like programs they have, what are the needs of the university, what are the do's and don'ts, and what are the I'm like basically you have to understand the positives and negatives of what you need and what you will be your future commitments down the line 2 or 5 years. Since you'll be studying as a bachelor's, a master's, or maybe like a PhD graduate in Luxembourg. So that was my point. I'm studying. I will become completing my graduation this year as a wealth management master's PhD program person. And since I'm passionate and I also have work experience back in India, to investment banking industry. So I thought like Luxembourg will be one of the greatest platform for me because it's a financial hub, as I said, and I would like to make a lot of use of it, basically. So that's the only thing. And coming to the conclusion is like Luxembourg education system offers a unique blend of academic excellence and global exposure. When in chartered accountants, this translates into a pathway to international opportunities and a deeper understanding of the dynamics shaping the financial world, which is changing right now. So this will be a very helpful and a very good platform to use. And it's not just an education, it's an investment. I always say to the students, my juniors, the students who are applying over here from any country, because you are investing on yourself. And you have to know what kind of goal you want to set in future. Like, let's say like you're planning a future for 2 to 5 years. I'm like, since I was an investment banker before, I have to make a portfolio at that way. I'm just trying to make you understand. Saying that you have to define yourself. You have to make ready about what exactly you want to achieve in your life as a youngster, maybe like mid 30s or mid 50s. Because I have my classmates who are also like 50 plus who are studying with me, and I have my classmates who are my juniors, are like in age wise, and we actually try to learn from each other, culturally as well as technically, because I come from like we come from technical place like India, so we share the technical concepts with them, and we also gain some practical concepts about learning about European markets, European needs, and everything. You have to cross check everything A to Z. That's what I always say to people. So that's what my advice will be all about. And closing this one is like thanks to all of you for this giving me an opportunity and for, paying a good attention. I'm like being patient and understanding my whole everything in a deeper way. I hope I will have solved. But if you need some more clarity, I will also connect you with my team. I'll share you the link in the chat. And feel free to have any kind of questionnaire. Don't be shy. And see, basically, when I came to Luxembourg, no one was there to help. And now I have a team where we are ready to shape you off, and we are ready to we actually personally helping students right now in the housing. We are personally helping students in admissions. We're helping students in different ways actually. So we are the only association in the University of Luxembourg, and also like uh, in Luxembourg are fulfilling the students' needs basically inside Luxembourg as well as outside Luxembourg. So I'm happy to say that, and we also have a lot of collaborations. Any kind of like doubts, we can encounter that, so that's not a problem. So feel free to always direct me with any questions, and I will always lead you to my teammates. And thanks a lot for giving me the and thanks, and have a good day. I would say good evening because the time frame is something different.
Thank you, Prashantji, for giving
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
basically giving a narration with regard to the education systems in the Luxembourg. So, any questions, friends? In case any questions, we can take it at the end of the session, basically. There is one question, so we can take it right away. What is the costing of higher education in finance in Luxembourg? Any idea about
The costing in so basically, yeah, I forgot to say this one that many of the students actually get confused with Luxembourg, because see, Luxembourg is basically an expensive country as far as I've seen, and also like as far as I have heard from students from here. So you have to be, let's say, for example, you're going to any other country in Europe, I would say. You have to have a double of expenses over here when you're coming. You have to be ready at least with 5,000 euros, I would say, because that will be covering your, I think your accommodation as well as your student, your student academics for 2 years, or like 3 years if it's bachelor's or master's. It's like 2 years of PhD. It's like for 4 to 5 years. So it depends actually. So I'll also share the link of the University of Luxembourg in detail, and you can, so that you can get a lot of like a transparent call from the platform.
Thank you, Prashant. So I think there is some connectivity issue of Preetham. Yes, he's back.
I apologies. So there was some connectivity issue. Thank you, Prashant ji,
Thanks a
for
lot.
giving us. So now, coming to the last session for the day, Ms. Michelle, with regard to the social, economic, and the expect lifestyles for the opportunities in Luxembourg. So we would like to welcome Ms. Michelle for the same. Ms. Michelle is basically is a humanitarian as well as communication professionals currently working with AEIN. And AEIN is basically dedicated humanitarian organizations committed to improving the lives of children and women in India and Nepal. Through strategic initiatives and impactful projects, AEIN strives to provide essential supports, education, and healthcare, fostering a brighter future for the communities. With 20 years of journalist experience, she knowingly combines storytelling with strategic communications to elevate the organization mission as well as overseeing the donor relationships. Having resided in Bombay for 2 years and navigating various continents with her family, Michelle is adept at adapting to new cultures, a skill she brings to her impactful work with AEIN. We welcome you, Michelle, and without being joyful, without being happy, without team being happy, we cannot do anything. So we need to be happy, we need to be cheerful, we need to be joyful. That is something which we all cherish for. Over to you, Michelle, to take this session forward. You are on mute.
Good afternoon, everyone. So thank you very much for having me here in your conference. So as the introduction was very nice, I just wanted to add that I'm also half Swedish and half Luxembourgish. So I've worked over 20 years as an international journalist, moving around, working on all continents. Of course, I was in India, which was a very, very nice experience. So although I'm no expert, so don't ask me too hard questions afterwards, but definitely I have experience in relocating to many places, also as a family with 3 children. So what I can say about coming to Luxembourg as a family, Luxembourgish people are very open. It's a very international society with over 170 nationalities. English is widely spoken, so people should not be afraid about bringing spouses or children, as everyone is very welcome here. And when you go into a school class, you can have 10, 12 different nationalities where people speak all kinds of languages. And it's really a fantastic opportunity for children as well, because After a few years in Luxembourg, they will be absolutely fluent in German, French, obviously English, and Luxembourgish, and maybe Italian or Spanish or Portuguese or some other language, because their classmates might come from another nationality. So it really is a beautiful place to come to. About schools, there are many international schools. They have programs in English as well. So you shouldn't hesitate or be afraid that, how do my children adapt into a class with a completely new language? It probably won't be the case, because there are English schools as well, several of them. Some are private schools, some are government schools. Both are perfectly fine. There's no big difference in the education between both, except the price. So that is not something that should worry you. I would suggest, if you come with young children, to put them right into the Luxembourgish school system, because it will give them a great advantage. And if they already started school but are still young, the Luxembourgish schools will also do their best to try to help these children with extra language classes. And it's really very helpful here. So you should not at all be worried about that. Then housing is another thing. You must be aware that when you want to rent an apartment or a house, you must earn at least 3 times the amount of the rent net. So that means if you rent a house or an apartment that costs you 2,000 euros, it would be expected that as a family income, you would at least have 6,000 euros net coming in every month. It can be a little bit tricky. Most times when you rent, you will go through agencies, and they can be quite strict, but you can also find people who don't want to go through an agency and, might be a little bit more flexible. Then, of course, because there are many cross-border workers coming in, there's also the option of moving maybe into Germany or France or Belgium, which is only 15, 20 minutes away. So really isn't anything. And rent might be as little as a third of the price. Now, what I'm not aware of is when you come in with the work permit, whether your residence will be just assigned to Luxembourg, or if you are free to also live and put your residence in one of the neighboring countries. But that is maybe something one of the other speakers maybe could answer. And as a family, if you're worried about, how do I make new friends? Are there a lot of activities I can do? There is the Indian Association. I don't know whether it was mentioned, which will be very welcoming for the families, and also will be able to tell you about, what kind of activities you can do, and meet up with other Indian families, and, sporting activities and a lot of things. So, yeah, from my side, it's a little bit everything. I am available later on for Q&A if you have any. And so I thank you very much. I try to keep it short because I know that we are a little bit running out of time. So I will give the floor back to Anjani.
Michelle, thank you once again for your time and joining us to give insights about yourself and what you do. So to our fellow chartered accountants in India, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Anjani ji. And thank you, Prashant ji, for enlightening the audience, all the attendees out here with your kind words, with your knowledge. I would also request the office to please give the certificate of appreciation to all the speakers of the day, please.
Idamai, can we take few questions from the audience if they have any questions? We have 5 minutes.
I have seen the questions, Bhaiya. So I think so all the questions have been answered simultaneously. So I think so. The vote of thanks is something which will be taken, which Anjani ji will take at the end. Just for the appreciation, we would like to give them a certificate, online certificates to all the speakers, Bhaiya.
Okay.
And also, Mr. Preetham, to add on that, I have attached a link in this one where the students who are trying to apply in Luxembourg. Excuse me. So the students of people who are trying to come to Luxembourg, we have the association where we are open and transparent to advise them. So I have also attached a link in the webinar chat. You can kindly ask the audience to go through that, and they can chat with our team, and the team will give them precise understanding on how can they go from A to Z. That's the main point.
So in the meantime, there is one more question from the audience, Mr. Srini Prasadji. He's a chartered accountant with 12.5 years of experience in working in MNC. And he would like to know how he can connect to Luxembourg. I know that you have given the list of websites, you have given the list of items, but the list of IDs, basically how he can connect. Just once again, in case you can explain.
No, I think the question's for Mr. Anjani, right? Because he was having all the links in it.
Yes, yes, yes. So I think so. His screen is freezed. Yeah, yeah. Anjani ji, in case just take it again.
Yes, Anjani, please. There is some signal problem. It seems there is some signal problem at the end of the chair of Chairman
I
Luxembourg.
think
Anjani
we will have
Ladiaji.
So I think so. We will have the presentation from Anjani ji, which captures all the basically forums through whom we can connect in Luxembourg. And as a chartered accountant, this will help us in connecting to Luxembourg.
So we have one hand raise from Narendra Kumar Ladia ji, maybe both Ladia, brother, है ना? So maybe he has some. Narendra ji, would you like to ask some question from allowed to talk? Narendra ji? Anjani, are you there? Okay, let's present the certificate in that. In the meantime, so let's start with Michelle first. Hitam bhai, shall we go with the certificates?
Absolutely. But yes.
Sanjeev, let's start with Michelle first. Thank you, Michelle, for taking out time and letting us know about Luxembourg lifestyle, about expats, social and economic things. It was wonderful listening to you, and I must tell everyone that the video, the discussion is available on the YouTube channel of Northern India Regional Council. If any one of you wants to watch it again, they can go on the YouTube channel and watch the entire discussion again. Now let's go to Prashant. Anjani is joining back. Anjani is back.
Yes, sir. Sorry about that. Like I had some connectivity issues.
So, Prashant, this is for you from Northern India Regional Council. Very good to know that Indians are leading Luxembourg even in the student association. Very best of luck for your future, and thanks once again for your time to Northern India Regional Council. Now, should we take few questions before we present certificate to Anjani ji, or should we give him visa to move out, or you have Pitam take some questions?
Hey, I think so. We have 3-4 questions more right now coming in. So I think so we can take it up. Can we negotiate? One of the very interesting questions coming from Kamal Arora ji. Can we negotiate with tax authorities in Luxembourg for reduction in taxes?
So, okay. So, tax planning is always one of the key parameters what our Indian chartered accountants or the tax advisors do, right? So, Luxembourg has the maximum number of double taxation avoidance treaties with the world. It has a DTAA with 97 countries. So it depends upon what type of business you are coming in, if you would want to explore here in Luxembourg. Luxembourg does not negotiate the tax matters individually unless it is detrimental to EU as a whole. Luxembourg competes with the other EU nations. Like, it is not one of the, I would say, a tax havens. It is considered as a tax haven, but it is not a tax haven. The corporate taxes are 25%. The individual taxation is like 45% or on a highest slab. So depending upon what are the businesses you're coming in. For an example, if you are a startup, like establishing your company in here, there are some tax breaks, there are some government reliefs, there are certain rebates that you could claim as any other business country that would want to do in. But negotiating a tax rate with the tax authorities will only be available if there is a kind of an advanced tax agreement, depending upon the business you are in. So it is a very wider topic we have to see, but it's more or less covered up through our DTAA between the India and Luxembourg, which I would be able to share it as a kind of a whole write-up to the participants. I will share it up with the organizers, Preetam ji and Gaurav ji, for sharing it to the wider audience later on.
Thank you, Anjani ji. We will have, I suppose, we will have the presentations to be shared along with all the professionals who have been part today.
Yes. So
I will be able to share the presentation as well. Yeah.
So whatever the presentations you have shared, we would be hosting them the same on the Northern India Regional website of the Northern India Regional Council. Any member who is interested to download, or any non-member who is interested to download the presentations, they can go to CP resources, tag of NIRC website, and from there they can download the today's presentation. Hopefully by tomorrow, we should have presentations available online.
So, can we present, Gaurav ji, can we present certificate of appreciation?
Yeah. So, Sanjeev, please present a certificate to Anjani ji. So, Anjani bhai, this is for you, certificate of recognition, and thanks a ton for your support. I know it was a very quick call that we did some week back, and we how we got connected because of our Faminar series. You said our speaker for the Faminar was nice, and you called her at your platform. From there, the relationship started, and today you are at the platform of Northern India Regional Council. You arranged all the speaker. Thanks a ton to all of you. This is a small token of love and appreciation to you from Northern India Regional Council. But yes, vote of thanks belongs to you. I will not take that opportunity to present vote of thanks. So now it's your turn to present vote of thanks on behalf of Luxembourg chapter and Northern India Regional Council. Over to you, Anjani bhai.
Many thanks once again, Gaurav ji, for giving this support to be part of this wonderful platform. So I would like to thank on behalf of my management committee, Luxembourg chapter of ICAI, and with said that, I want to do a wrap up and then show us last small video before we end up. It's called Move to Luxembourg. Good. Thank you all for listening. And on behalf of the Luxembourg chapter, I would welcome any questions or any kind of a connect that you would like to have with us. We are the full chapter of ICAI here and then we support our members, CA members. We are more than 150 Indian chartered accountants living in Luxembourg, mostly working in private organizations as ArcelorMittal, Amazon, TCS, Big Fours, and we'll be more than happy to connect with you all. Once again, thank you very much for giving an opportunity to be part of this session. Gauravji, thank you all. And then I give it back to you.
थैंक यू अंजलि जी. आई विल से आपने मन तो पूरा तैयार कर दिया है. अब आप टिकट और वीजा भेज देंगे तो हम लग्जमबर्ग में कल आपसे मुलाकात कर लेंगे.
सर एकदम आप बस अपना पासपोर्ट रेडी रखिए, लाइक वीजा, हमका इनविटेशन यहाँ से आ जाएगा जी आपके पास.
थैंक यू ब्रदर, थैंक यू.